This is WAVE, Wave Channel 3, Louisville, Kentucky. It's 12 noon. And it is time now for WAVE-3 News. Noontime report. And here now is Peter J. Wiggins. Good evening, everybody, and good afternoon, everybody, on this Wednesday, September 21st, 1988. Here's what's happening in the world of news. Democratic presidential candidate Michael Dukakis will speak Tuesday afternoon at Western Kentucky University. Dukakis is tentatively scheduled to speak on the topic of health services at 2 p.m. at Van Meter Auditorium in an invitation-only audience of nurses and other health service workers, according to the university spokesman Steve House. No other activities are scheduled in conjunction with the speech. A campaign spokesman said Dukakis will speak at Houston on Tuesday morning, then fly to Bowling Green for the speech on Western and return home back to Boston. It'll be the third visit to Kentucky for the Massachusetts governor since he won the Democratic nomination in July. In Erlanger, Kentucky, Thomas W. Luzak says he might get cold feet if he had to think about diving into an icy lake again to rescue a woman from drowning. That act, performed by Luzak last December 4th near his Witchwood home, earned him a recognition Thursday in Pittsburgh from the Carnegie Hero Fund Commission and was recommended along with 19 other Americans and Canadians. Luzak, 43, stripped off a leg brace he wears because of a childhood bout with polio and jumped into the water in 23-degree weather to rescue a neighbor. Mary Walsh, 66. Mrs. Walsh, a secretary at the State Department Highways office on Crescent Park, had backed her car into her driveway, but instead of stepping on the brake, she hit the accelerator. Her car shot out of the driveway into the lake behind her home. Luzak, a general manager and vice president of King Tool in Erlanger, happened to be leaving for work and saw what happened. When he got to his car, he said, at the time, the water was at the bottom of the window. Luzak instructed Mrs. Walsh to open the window and swim out. Unable to swim, Mrs. Walsh lowered the window and Luzak helped her to shore before the car sank. Mrs. Walsh was treated at a hospital for hypothermia but was not otherwise injured. You know, when I reflect back on that, when you're faced with that situation, you don't know how you're going to be spawned. Luzak said in a telephone interview Thursday from his office. Very instinctive to speak. You do what you have to do.
To the final week of
Western Kentucky University President Thomas E. Meredith on Thursday challenged staff and faculty to be in his best in his first mass meeting with the groups. I believe in Western and I believe you, and I mean that sincerely that I can say it. Meredith told several hundred professors, administrators, and other Western personnel gathered at the Van Meter Auditorium. All you have to ask is say to this, you treat each student as if he or she were your own. Work them hard, but care about them and help them do your job every day the way you would want someone to do that job if you were the boss. If you follow these two things, it will be the greatest university that ever existed. It will last wide-ranging speech punctuated by jokes and interrupted several times by applause. Meredith said he wants Western to be acknowledged as being on the same level as the University in Kentucky and the University of Louisville. In the same sentence, I also want people to think of Western Kentucky University when they think of higher education in the state. I don't want this to be anything other than one of the best in the state, he said. Meredith pledges support to faculty to achieve that goal. I'll do that I can within my power to do as much to make sure that there are a few hindrances in your way as possible, he said. I think that's primarily what it will be about, to set directions from the institution and make sure that all those things that there could be in your way to keep you from operating in your maximum area out of the way. Meredith encouraged faculty to do 5 career professionals in research, scholarly activities, and public service, but made it equally clear that he expects excellence from the classroom. You must be good in the classroom, he said. I can't think of any excuse for you not being good in the classroom, not average, not okay. I'm talking good in the classroom. Meredith reiterated his comment in the Western students and challenging faculty to take the time to personalize the teaching. Our students do not have to take just whatever they are given in the classroom. They deserve that best. We owe it them. They paid for it. You're getting paid for it, and we owe it to them as a part of it. Meredith promised to serve as a buffer for faculty in the political activities of the state. They said that first party with Governor Walsh, Wilkinson, and the legislatures will be teacher salaries. Meredith also pledged in helping and recruiting students, securing additional out-of-state funding and promoting Western across the state and nation. The Western story needs to be told, and that's part of my job, he said. Meredith cited class loads and among the most serious problems faced with Western and promised not to be forsaken educational activity growth for quality. I want to be sacrificed our reputation for the sake of his eyes, he said. That reputation, he said, is one of the he wants to protect. I want to continue to sprout upward, and I can't do that. I can take care of the visibility, and I can take care of lots of other things, but I'll rest with you and I will give you support you need for that. Concerning an NCAA investigation into Western's basketball program, Meredith promises full cooperation and an appropriate response to the findings. In Frankfort, Kentucky, a tractor-trailer carrying cattle overturned on the Interstate 64 this morning, causing traffic to be rerouted. State police said some of the 88 cattle aboard did escape, causing traffic problems, but no additional accidents. Trooper Glenn Walton said the animals were in both the eastbound and westbound lanes, but only westbound traffic was being rerouted, he said. Dave driver, Mark Moser, 30 of Cranston, Ohio, and a passenger vessel right now 30 of Akron, Ohio, were treated at scene for minor injuries, Walton said. The accident occurred shortly after 6 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time in the westbound lanes in Franklin County, about a quarter mile east of Shelby County. Walton said the truck was traveling from North Carolina to Rock Island, Illinois. He said Moser evidently fell asleep and the truck ran off the right side of the road, struck an embankment and overturned, Walton said.
This action taking place earlier in the day, the PGA.
In Louisville, Kentucky, a leader of a group working to defeat the proposal for a state-sanctioned lottery and the public should be allowed to see proposed enabling legislation before Kentucky's number 8 referendum. The commission appointed by Governor Wallace Wilkinson to draft that legislation should come out of the closed room and talk to us about their findings about what they've seen in our states and what their inclination is for Kentucky. James Fugitti, chairman of the Citizens Against State Lottery, said in a news conference on Thursday. Fugitti said that the public should be supposed to be told, among other things, that the amount of lottery startup costs, what type of game it would be, who could play it, and who would operate it, how lottery licenses would be awarded, where proceeds would be deposited, and how they would be spent. Anything that throws light on the lottery in Kentucky is in our favor, said Fugitti, an Elizabethtown business executive. A letter contained his request was delivered Thursday to Governor Wallace Wilkinson's office along with a copy of a petition which Fugitti's group says 10,000 people have signed. The petition asks that the Lottery Commission hold public hearings in each of the Kentucky's 7 congressional districts by September 30th. The petition asks for the Commission report to be released by October 15th, though. It says the work that should have been done in 30 to 60 days ago, Fugitti said. But as a technical matter, I would almost rather than they didn't human request, he said. Because then I think that's pretty clear where they say to Kentucky voters, you don't really care, do you? We don't think you care. We don't think you have enough intelligence to understand what we've been trying to do. We think that is an important item. The lottery that would be a stronger signal from the governor and the commissioners at open hearings. Wilkinson's press secretary Doug Alexander confirmed that the letter against petition sheet from Citizens Against State Lottery were received on Thursday. Alexander and Wilkinson surveys continue to show a high percentage of Kentuckians favor of the state-sanctioned lottery. Frank O'Keener, a lottery bank executive from Louisville, whom Wilkinson appointed chairman of the Lottery Commission, who will be out of town for the rest of the week, the secretary said. Fugitti and Philip Thompson, the anti-lottery campaign state director, conceded that they would be fought at and banned by lottery proponents. Their group goal was about $350,000, about $100,000 has been raised today, Fugitti said. In Frankfort, the report from a special committee appointed by Frankfort Circuit Court Judge Ray Korn's system in the school funding suit has been filled but will be kept secret until Wednesday. I would have a little chance to read it. Korn said Thursday with a 40-page report. Members of the committee said the Korn asked not to discuss the report until the debriefing next week. We think that the meeting with you all on Wednesday will be at an appropriate time, said Sylvia Watson of Louisville, committee member. Korn's appointed at the 5-member panel after he ruled in May that Kentucky had failed its constitutional obligation to provide an efficient system of public schools. The suit was brought by 66 mostly poor school districts. The panel was charged with making suggestions on how the state could discharge that responsibility without taking any money away from a school district. Lexington attorney Larry Forgey, another committee member, said that the report would discuss 8 broad principles. I don't think anyone should be looking for a detailed report, he said. What this will do, in my opinion, it will be described several broad parameters by the legislature. Legislatures have already vowed to appeal the final ruling. In Frankfort, Kentucky, 5 new offices for the state agency in charge of enforcing child support laws are being appointed by Kentucky, bringing to the total of 15, the Cabinet for Human Resources said today. An office in Louisville is scheduled to open within 30 days. Offices at Bowling Green, Harlan, Owensboro, and Somerset are expected to open in early 1989, the Cabinet said in a news release. The Cabinet's Division for Child Support Enforcement currently has offices in Ashland, Covington, Denville, Elizabethtown, Frankfort, Hawkinsville, Lexington, Manchester, Paducah, and Prestonburg. The agency is added about 149 staff this year and in 1989, and most will work from the regional offices. The release said the new office will cut the average caseload per worker from 1,500 to 1,000 to put more caseworkers closely to county attorney and other enforcement officials, they really said. Frankfort, Kentucky, the State Department of Agriculture can't be held responsible for adopting an affirmative action plan until the city's guidelines are one, an official said. Raul Cunningham, a deputy commissioner for the State Department of Personnel, said the guidelines are currently being printed. Agriculture Commissioner Ward Butch-Brunner said since taking office, he's taken steps to put more women in high-ranking positions, but said it difficult to find blacks who are qualified to fill some of the positions in his department. Burnett blamed the summer drought for not having time to work on an affirmative action plan. The Agriculture Department is the only state agency with 10 or more workers that doesn't have an affirmative action plan which sets goals for hiring women and minorities. Cunningham said 7.4% of the Agriculture Department workers should belong to a minority and 52% should be women. As of June 30th, 3% of the department's employees belong to a minority and 31% were women. A 1984 executive order required all state agencies to develop affirmative action plans. The General Assembly this year passed a law requiring that all state agencies have an affirmative action plan by July 15th. Dolores Everett, who heads a black state workers organization in Frankfort, said none of her group's 475 members had an approach about working for the Agriculture Department. She said she thinks that the department is not making a serious effort to recruit minorities.
Right now. He is playing.
Fort Knox, Kentucky, a ceremony to recognize Kentucky veterans who were prisoners of war and servicemen are still considered missing in action were scheduled today in Fort Knox. The ceremony was to be included in the presentation of POW service medal to about 100 Kentuckians by Major General Thomas H. Tate, Commanding General Fort Knox. The event is sponsored by Fort Knox and the Veterans Administration Regional Office in Louisville. The event at 2 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time at the Keys Park Amphitheater at Fort Knox will be open to the public. Lexington, Kentucky, former Kentucky State Police Commissioner Marion Butch Campbell will be retried early next year on drug conspiracy charges. U.S. District Court Judge Eugene Seller Jr. on Wednesday scheduled by a February 18th trial for Campbell, who was acquitted in February 1987 on 4 or 5 counts against him in a drug conspiracy and extortion trial. The charge stems on a 1986 federal investigation of drug dealings in Morgan County. Sellers declared a mistrial on the last charge. Ted Campbell and others conspired to possess and distribute cocaine and marijuana after jurors could not reach a verdict on the count after a nearly 4-week trial. A July 23rd ruling that by 8th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals ordered Campbell to face retrial on a March 1987 federal indictment along and altering the drug conspiracy charge. Campbell, who headed the state police in 61-62, appealed to discuss the superseding indictment, contending to place him on a double jeopardy because the new indictment duplicated one of the charges for extortion on which he was cleared. Okay, in world news and national news, civil disorder increase in Haiti with strikes by public employees, widespread violence in the streets, and reports of the major breaches in the military chain of command 3 days after a coup. Soviet leaders are being voted out of the office at an unexpectedly high rate in the first wave of local Communist Party elections that have been used more than democratic procedures, including secret ballots and convening slates. A Japan without Hirohito has been complaining about a nation that serious illness has continued to afflict only the sovereign Japan when it's known since 1925 when doctors tried to stop his intestinal bleeding. A military administration in Burma was named by the armed forces 2 days after seizing power, while reports of killing continued sporadic clashes that included the ambush of a military truck. A West German official was attacked by assailants who fired shots missing the official but raised insecurity fears from Congress for the International Monetary Fund and World Bank scheduled for West Berlin. The resignations of the Prime Minister of Poland and his cabinet over charges of economic mismanagement failed to take into account of the world of the Communist Party and the nation's financial troubles. A new image of Salvadoran rightness is portrayed by Armando Calderon Sol, a member of the Nationalist Republican Alliance who was elected mayor of San Salvador on a good government anti-corruption stand.
This year, technology doing it for
Removal of dangerous pesticides from the marketplace would be quickened under a provision adopted by the House to speed the process of testing some 600 active ingredients using commercial pesticides. Prices climbed faster than thought from April through June, pushing the inflation rate further above the expectations of the Federal Reserve, but not worried about any economists or the financial markets. A Senate drug bill as tough as a bill in the House was expected when the Senate debate began. Proposals include drug tests for driver's license applicants and elimination of legal barriers to drug testing. A company operated by Christians cannot require its workers to attend the prayer services at federal appellate court ruled in a 2-to-1 decision. Libraries used in all-purpose centers for learning, recreation, and social needs are growing in numbers, and surveys show that adults and children both are responding with more visits. Action 88.
You know, speed. And usually a player doesn't say that, but he just said, man.
News Alliance. Michael Dukakis is out on landing his views on weapons and international relations. It has searched recent speeches countering criticisms of having no foreign policy while changing some Position slightly. Michael Dukakis said healthcare should be available to all under a universal insurance program, and he challenged George Bush to come out from beyond the flags and how he would be helping the uninsured. George Bush's altruism said that it is a larger purpose of America's pride and prosperity than simply realizing that the shell ambition of becoming rich. Okay, on to the market report for the Louisville livestock. The Louisville, Kentucky estimates received cattle and calves of 125. Representative slaughter class is steady, other classes poorly tested. Slaughter cows breaking and boning in utility 1 to 3 to 44 and 3/4, 40 to 3/4. Couple eye dressing and boning percentage individuals of a 51 1/4 and 56 3/4. And cannon low cutter 38 to 43 3/4. Slaughter bulls. Yield grade 11A to 12A pounds, indicating 80 carcass, bone-in percentage 60, 25, and 16 3/4. Feeder steers, medium frame, number 1 few, 300 400 pounds at 90-99, 400 500 pounds, and 89-93 50. At the noontime Wall Street report, the stock market was mixed today and drifting in decisive session. The Dow Jones average of 30 industrials rose 3.56 to 2,009.104 by noontime on Wall Street. Losers slightly outnumbered the gainers in the overall tally. The New York Stock Exchange listed issues went 569 up, 604 down, and 561 unchanged. Activity was curtailed somewhat by the absence of investors observing the Jewish holiday of Yom Kippur. Labor Department reported this morning that the consumer price index rose 0.4% in August, mentioning its July increase. Newmont Mining climbed 2 1/4 to 36.5 on word that Minorca was in the acquired consolidated gold fields, which owns just under half of Newmont. In the blue chip sector, General Electric rose to 1.8 to 42 7/8. International Business Machines gained 3/8 to 1 13 1/8. General Motors added 1/8 to 74 3/8, and American Telephone and Telegraph was down at 26 1/8. Regina Company tumbled 9 3/8 to 7 3/8 in the over-the-counter market. The company, a manufacturer of floor care products, said late Tuesday they would report a loss of a current quarter, citing the slowdown of orders to other problems. The New York Stock Exchange Composite Index of all its listed common stocks edged up 10 cents to 152.54 at the American Stock Exchange. The market value index was down 27 cents at 298.36. Volume of the big board came from 57.92 million shares at noontime, down from 7.58 million shares at the same point on Tuesday. Let's take a look at the weather here. Right now, current conditions at noontime and September 21st, 1988. We got a temperature of 69 degrees at downtown Louisville and Stanford Field, 71 out in Fort Knox, 67 in Lexington, 68 out in Huntington, West Virginia, 67 in Hazard, 68 in London, 68 in Bowling Green, 72 in Paducah, 71 in Clarksville, Tennessee, 68 in Owensboro, 71 in Poplar Bluff, 66 in Cape Girardeau, 66 down in Belleville, 68 in downtown St. Louis, 78 Lambert Field in St. Louis, 66 in Belleville, 68 in Mount Vernon, 60 in Carbondale and 71 in Carbondale, 71 in Evansville, Indiana, 64 in Bloomington, Indiana, 61 in Columbus, Indiana, 65 in Covington, and 65 in Cincinnati. Okay, let us take a look at our weather scope around the nation. It shows a pool of cold air in the upper atmosphere drifting across Southern California will spawn thunderstorms over the San Joaquin Valley and the Sierra Nevada today. Cool ocean will spread inland will reduce the risk of showers along the coast over periods. The cloudiness will likely be near Los Angeles and San Diego. The threat of showers will end tonight as the cold air moves over Nevada. A southward bulging and jet stream over New Mexico will be the common with the cold air in Southern California will direct tropical moisture northeast. As a result, a quarter of clouds and showers will extend from the mountains of New Mexico to the Colorado Rockies. West winds warming on descent for the Rockies will cause pressure to decrease over the central plains, prompting showers across Kansas, Nebraska, and Iowa. By the ridge of high pressure in the atmosphere, rain will be spread again light. A pull of warm air at 20,000 feet above northeast Texas will promote readings near 100 degrees this afternoon. As far over east, airs of dense surrounding the eastern Gulf Coast will yield to sunny and seasonably warm weather. A weakening jet stream disturbance will produce clouds and showers in eastern New England today. The disturbance will be the impetus of a cold front to move off the northeast coast today. But with jet stream winds blowing from west to east in the wake of the disturbance, the brunt of cold air will remain over Canada. Second disturbance creates in the northern Great Lakes. Today we'll push some of the cold air into northern New England tonight. Tropical storm Helene Christian yesterday by the National Hurricane Center slowly should strengthen off the coast of Africa. So our forecast for Louisville and Kentucky go like this.
Sure have. Not a great luck.
Cloudy today and tonight with continued 50% chance of showers and thunderstorms. High will be 80s, low about 65 70 degrees, and
Like you think they would.
more the same. For Thursday and Friday, most got scattered thunderstorms,
No, that's not gonna climb the slope.
highs in the low 80s. And for extended forecast for Sunday through Tuesday, the extended forecast for Sunday through Tuesday calls for a chance of rain that today lows me in the mid upper 60s and highs around 90 degrees. That is going to be it for the WAVE-3 News. The noontime report on September 21st, 1989 period. It's going to be about good.
That's what he does. Yeah, he hit it on the third tee so far left, and then
Dan, I'll be seeing you later on. Bye-bye, buddy.
a routine par.
Average Nicholson par.